My favourite part of this car is the wheels. I really, really like these. Hi, Scott here from SEAT-CUPRA-NET. We are here with the brand new Ibiza FR. This is the facelift model, so midlife refresh for the car. Most of the changes on the interior, and we'll come on to those, but we're going to talk about the outside first. This is Desire Red. This is the colour that really is nice in the flesh. I've said this before if you've checked out the Cupra Leon review. It's really nice, but I don't think today is going to do it justice, and it's not going to show as well on the camera. It's a bit overcast at the moment, and we're dodging the planes because we're quite near Heathrow. But it's really, really nice colour. There's not many changes to the outside of the car from the previous pre-facelift. There are LED lights all round as standard on all the Ibizas now, not just the FR and other models, so that's good. The front I don't think has changed at all. So you've seen this before, I'm sure. You've got the SEAT badges. It's a kind of matte grey. It's not gloss silvery plastic like we've seen before. Vertical lights there for the fog lights, LED lights. Obviously a sensor equipment there for all the technology. Yeah, not a lot to say about the front. If we come round to the side, my favourite part of this car are these new designed wheels. They're 18-inch. You've got a mixture of gloss black with these kind of teeth on them and silver. And this is not plastic like we've seen on some SEAT and Cupra cars. This is proper alloy. And I really like that design. And it looks really good when the wheels are moving in motion as well. We'll try and get some footage of that. Yeah, really like the wheels. You've got the gloss black mirrors. There is an option for the car to have a panoramic roof, which makes it look gloss black on top, which is really nice. But this one's pretty fully loaded. Apart from that option, it's not on this car. The side, not really any changes there. Obviously, same design wheels at the back as you'd expect. If we come round to the back, what has changed is the Ibiza logo is now written in the handwriting style. That was introduced on the Mark IV Leon and then the Ateca facelift. This is now standard on SEAT cars. It's always going to be in this handwriting style. At first I didn't really like it on the Leon. It's grown on me a bit now. It's fine. It's not a deal breaker for me. Down here, as you would expect, fake exhausts. We've got these plastic surrounds, but there's a plastic fake bit inside. The rear, don't really want to call it a diffuser. It's not much of a diffuser, but the styling is quite nice there. Obviously rear LED lights. Not much of a spoiler to write home about, but I think the car looks good from the rear. So the interior is the thing that has changed the most on this car from the previous generation. You've got the new technology system, which is the touchscreen. We've got these, if you can take a look at these plastic red surrounds, which we've been told are LED lights. We've not seen these yet. We've not driven the car. We're about to do that and see what they look like. It may be too bright to see that effect. They looked good in the photos, but in the flesh it's just a little bit too plasticky, and these spiky bits I just don't think look particularly great. You've got this smooth silver dash and the soft touch rubber stuff at the top here. Okay, so come on in and we'll take a bit of a closer look. So the steering wheel is new. You've got obviously the FR logo, red stitching. It is the same steering wheel that we've seen on the Leon and Ateca. It's the same shape. Got the virtual dash now, which is as expected, really nice and clear and easy to see. Have another look at these plastic bits I was just talking about. I just don't think that looks particularly great. If that was smooth, it would be okay. We've got real physical buttons for the climate. Oh, I just turned everything on. Real buttons for the climate control, which is great. We've got 2 USB-C ports now. Infotainment screen is different from, I'm sure it's different from the Leon. It's the same as my wife's Ateca. But yeah, it's the same, no real surprises here. This is a big upgrade from the previous pre-facelift. Lights up here that don't seem to be LEDs, which is surprising. And yeah, your door lights and settings there. You've got your panic button, your SOS button. What else? We've got real light controls, which are nice. No, you know, the stuff that's been introduced on the Leon and the Tekka and Cupra Formentor is the touchy, sorry, not a Tekka, but certainly the Leon and the Formentor is the touch sensitive buttons, which just aren't particularly great. There's definitely more space in the cabin. The seats are really, really nice. We've got Alcantara back, which I miss from the Mark III Cupra Leon. The seats are nice and supportive on the sides there. You've got the red stitching all the way around the doors, on the gear stick gaiter, on the handbrake, around the seats here. Yeah, it's your classic FR interior with the red stitching. I'm going to go through the spec of the car for you. So this is the 1 litre engine, the TSI, 6-speed manual gearbox. The power is 110 horsepower. The 0 to 60 time is 10.3 seconds and the top speed is 121 miles an hour. The boot space is 355 litres. As I said, I don't think that's changed from the pre-facelift model. Fuel tank is 40 litres. So the total cost as tested for this car is £22,145. If you're interested, the insurance group is 12E, if that means anything to you. So that's the spec. Oh, forgot to say the seats are called FR Navy and Black Cloth, and as I said, the seats are really, really comfortable. I call them Alcantara, but I think that's a brand name. We're not allowed to call them that anymore. It's micro suede. 18-inch wheels, as I mentioned, digital cockpit. Yeah, that's probably enough about the spec. So let's go for a drive. On the road, the car is comfortable. The chassis is fine. The 1 litre engine in this car does frustrate me. It's just too gutless for me. I'm trying not to be too harsh coming from an Ibiza Cupra, but pulling out of junctions and things, it just requires that you kind of push the pedal down and there's a bit of lag. Once you're going, it's fine, and for most people, for a city car, it's not going to be a problem. It's weird because my wife's a Tekka, previous generation, had the same 1 litre engine, and you'd think on a bigger car it would be a problem. I never actually was left wanting with that engine on her car. For some reason in the Ibiza, and I found it on the pre-facelift, it just didn't feel right to me. I don't know what it is, and I'm finding it again with this car. But as I said, you know, it depends what you need in the car. For the cost, the engine is fine. I'm sure it's economical enough, and it's not meant to be a hot hatch. I get that. Visibility is good all round. Front, rear, mirrors, everything is as you'd expect. Visibility of the dashboard is crystal clear as well. There's no steering wheel getting in the way that you tend to find with Peugeot cars. I don't know why they just seem to always make that mistake. The one complaint I guess I'd have is the gear stick feels unnaturally high for me. It's unusually high for a SEAT car. It's taken a while to get used to. I think it affected my seating position. It took me a good few attempts to get the seat and height and distance adjusted in a way that I was comfortable. And I'm putting that down to the placement of the gear stick, which, as I said, is just a bit too high for me. Steering wheel is comfortable. It's exactly the same as we see now on other SEAT cars and Cupras. Real buttons, which are nice. You've got physical dials, which I've shown you on the interior tour. So yeah, I think the interior is fine and comfortable. Road noise, you probably pick that up on the microphone. It's not too bad. It's what you'd expect for a small car. Software, haven't had any issues so far, apart from my colleague at the back who was sat in the right hand seat, just put his hand on the middle seat just to adjust his seating position, and the sensors for the seat belts just kind of went nuts. It thought that there was someone in the middle not wearing a seat belt. We tested it a bit, just the slightest pressure of your little finger seemed to set it off. We're going to check with some of the other press cars here to make sure if that's just a one-off. I could see potentially with, you know, one person sat in the back just moving around, putting a bag down, that might trigger the sensor, which just seems a bit too sensitive for some reason. But overall, as a car to drive around in a city, fine. If you're doing long motorway journeys, I think it'll be fine as well. It's certainly much nicer than the previous generation of Ibiza. You've got more room. One thing I find on my car is I've got size 11 feet, and if I'm wearing anything other than a trainer, my foot can catch on the clutch between the center console, but there's definitely more room down in the footwell here on this generation of the car, so I'm not catching my foot on the clutch at all, and I'm wearing boots today, and it's been absolutely fine. So the more space in the cabin is definitely appreciated, and as I said before, it feels just a little bit more Leon-like in terms of the space and size. But yeah, I really like the interior, apart from the couple of little bits that I've mentioned, and the driving is fine. I've not been chucking it around roads to any great degree. I expect it will handle as you would expect. It's not that kind of car, so I'm just trying to look at it through that lens. For a city car, for the occasional motorway journey, I think it's spot on. Hope you enjoyed the review. Be sure to subscribe and like the video if you found it useful. We're posting videos as regularly as possible. We're going to do these a lot more often now, these video reviews. And of course, if you haven't been on the website, www.SEAT-CUPRA-NET, we are the original and one of the largest SEAT communities, certainly the largest in the UK. But we have members from all across the world interested in SEAT and Cupra cars. We offer advice. People can share photos of their cars, modification ideas. We've got a lot of good sponsors on the website as well who can offer some really big discounts, and some of our sponsors ship to Europe as well, so be sure to check that out. Hope you enjoyed that review, as I said, and see you at the next one. Is that what you heard coming? It's obviously not every 3 minutes. Do you want to start again?